Okay, so 3.1, this unit is all about factoring, and factoring is actually pretty important in future math courses, so understanding it right now will definitely save you some time. So the first strategy that we're going to use is called common factoring, and so a common factor, it's just an expression that can be divided by all terms. So you can think of it as the greatest common factor. It's got numbers, it could have letters, combination of both. But some tips for common factoring is you want to treat the coefficients and the variables different. So for the coefficients, if you want to break all the numbers down, you can, and then look for all the numbers that they have in common, but you want to take the biggest, that should be an I, biggest number that divides by all terms. If you take out a 2 and then you realize you can take out another 2, then you can do it in a couple of steps. But if you can find the biggest, then that will take it, find it in one step. For exponents, it is going to be the smallest exponent of each letter. Okay, so let's look at example 1. So I like to treat them separately. So I've got 24 and 20, and so I think, okay, well, they divide by 2, but can I really get something bigger? And 4 works. So we're going to take a 4 out, and you're going to write the common factor on the outside of the parentheses. So basically, we're going to kind of undistribute. So I'm going to write this up here. It's like undistributing. Or reverse distribution. Undistribute is not a real word. I know this. For the letters, I've got x to the 4th and x to the 9th. So the smallest exponent would be the 4th. Okay? And you're going to put that on the outside. So this, I'm going to just tell you here, because we're still learning, that is my common factor. Okay? So now what you are really doing is if I would divide both of these terms by 4x to the 4th, and you don't have to show me this, but this is where I'm actually going to get my answer. So 4 divides by 24 6 times, and if I take 4 of those out and 4 of those out, I'm just left with 6. We keep the plus, and then 4 goes into 25 times. We're going to take 4 x's out and take 4 of those x's out. So we're left with x to the 5th. Okay? And so this is factored. And what you'll notice is these two terms, they should have nothing in common. And that's how you know you did it correctly, hopefully. Nothing in common. That means you did it right. Okay? If you would distribute, you should get what you started with. And that's the idea. That's why I call it undistributing. All right, so let's try another one. So let's look at, we've got 36 and 60. So, well, I know 2 goes in. 6 is kind of obvious. And it could be something bigger, but I think a lot of students are going to stick with 6. So let's try that, okay? So sometimes we don't always get it right on our first try, and that's okay. So I'm going to try 6. Then we're going to look at the x's. So I've got 14 x's and 10 x's, so it's always going to be the smaller number. And then we want to look at the y's. So I've got 8 and 12. So we want 8 of them. All right. And until you get used to it, you can go ahead and just write these. I'm going to erase so this looks a little nicer. All right. So I've got 6x10, y8. 6x10, y8. All right. So 6 divided by 36. Take out 10 of those. I'm left with 4. Take out 8 of those, so no y's are left. Don't write y to the 0. Divide by 6, I get 10. Take all 10 of those x's out, there's none left, and take 8 of those y's, we're left with 4. Okay? And so now we did common factor. We didn't do it incorrectly, but what I notice is the 6 and the 10, those can divide by 2. So I could have taken out a bigger number, but don't worry because you can always just do this again. So if I know I can take a 2 out, that means we're going to multiply that 6 by 2 so we can take it out because we want to divide it out, so you do the opposite, so we multiply. So really I want this to be 12x 10 y 8. And all I have to do is just divide these by 2. So 3 and 5. The y and the x's don't have anything in common. So if you don't get the biggest number at first, just make sure you check the inside to see if you can go again. Okay? And that's it. So on this one, 18 and 36, same thing. I don't think a lot of students are going to see that 18 is in common. So if you don't see that, then you're going to have to do this twice. But you're going to keep trying. We just saw how to do that in case you don't. The A's, let's see, there is an imaginary 1 here. So I've got A to the first. I like to write the 1 so I remember. B here, I don't have a B there, so you're not going to be able to take any out. And then C5, C3. So we want C3. All right, so 18, I like to write it. That way I just keep track of what I'm actually doing. So 18s go away, take one of those A's out. I can't take any B's out, so they all have to stay here, and take 3 of those 5. I'm going to squeeze this in. I know it's really tiny. 18 divides by 36 2 times. The A's go away and the C's go away. And I look, I don't have any letters on the right and I don't have any numbers on the left. So this one is done. Okay, we can do the same thing with 3 terms. So I still just look at 12, 24, and 36. And so if you've been seeing this a while, you're like, oh, they all divide by 12. If not, you'll just do this in a couple of steps. So I'm going to do that. Let's look at the A's. I got 3, 4, and 6. So 3. H, 7, 10, 15. So we want 7. So, all right, I'm going to write mine kind of sideways because I think I'm going to run out of room. Okay, so the 12s cancel, all 3s cancel, and all the H's cancel. So it looks like we have 0 left. But remember, when you have the same thing divided by the same thing, like 5 divided by 5, you need a 1 as a placeholder, not 0. Then minus 12 goes into 24 2 times. Take out 3 of those A's and 7 of those H's. I didn't write the 1 on the A. It's not wrong if you do. You just don't need it. And then 12 divides by 36. Take out 3 A's and take out 7 H's. And I'm close to my parenthesis. And I look, I have 1, 2, 3, no A's, no H's, so nothing in common. So I did it probably correct. Okay, so you try common factoring. If you get stuck, email me, let me know. We'll set up a meeting. Okay, good luck.